Well, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. You're probably wondering, what the heck does he got behind him? Well, I've got some teams written here on the board, and I thought I would try and do a little bit of some comparisons of, teams that have, moved and whether or not they're better off in their old location or their current one. And I thought I would kind of take a look at that. And I've got teams on here basically dating back to, the 1980s, basically. Actually, a little bit even before that. Mid to late 70s up until today. I've got some of the more well-known moves that have happened, and I thought I would kind of take a look at that and try to get your guys' opinion on where you guys think if these teams would be better off in their old location or the new / current one that they're in. So, but before I do that, again, I'd like to welcome you to the channel. If you've been here before, welcome back. If this is your first time, obviously welcome, and hopefully you all enjoy the content. If you do, it would mean a lot to me if you would hit like and subscribe, because I'm trying to see just how close to 1,000 subscribers that I can get by the end of the year. If I can get somewhere close to that, it'd be awesome. I would love to have you guys join me on that ride. So, like I said, if you haven't done so already, if you're new or you haven't done so already and you've been here before, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. It would be very, very meaningful to me, and I would love you guys. So, talking about teams that have moved. Now, some people probably, video starts off, you go and you see, okay, why is he wearing two different teams? Well, obviously I'm wearing two different teams. It's the same franchise. Obviously they're here. This is the current franchise. This, of course, is the old franchise. And this is up here also. So let's look at some of these teams as I almost fall over. So let's look at some of these teams that have moved and whether or not they're in a better location now, or if they were in a better location where they were. And the first one that I would like to take a look at here is, we start out with the Quebec Nordiques. That's the former location. The new / current location. It's not really new anymore. They've been there for they've been there for going to be coming up on 30 years here. But the Colorado Avalanche. So where are they better? Were they better in Quebec, or are they better in Colorado? Now, there are arguments to be made for both. The fan base in Quebec is insane. They love their team. They were dealt a very bad hand in the mid-90s. They were a very bad team in the early 90s. There was one year they only won 12 games, and it was just horrendous. But during the last couple of years, they were starting to get good. They had gotten, they had drafted Eric Lindros. He didn't want to play there. Lindros technically got drafted twice. And, once to the Flyers, once to the Rangers, and an arbitrator had to come in, and they said Philadelphia gets him. So they got back, a big part of what became them getting really good and then becoming very, very good in Colorado. And one of the main guys in that Quebec got back was Peter Forsberg. that was an incredible trade. And Peter Forsberg, alongside Joe Sakic, really kind of, you know, they made that all come together. And of course, we all know the first year after they leave Quebec, they win the Stanley Cup. Now, where would they be better at? Again, like I said, the Nordiques got dealt a very bad hand. The Canadian dollar was in the toilet. It was not good, not good at all. And they needed a new building. And, you know, the province at the time was like, nope. They would not help the Nordiques owner, Marcel Aubut. They would not help him out in any way, shape, or form. They said they wanted the team to stick around, but they didn't want to make any. They didn't want to put forth any effort to help keep them there, which I think is one main reason why they still to this day do not have a team in Quebec City. So, you know, obviously they've had, you know, where are they better off at, or where have they been better off at? They were pretty darn good as the Nordiques, especially the last couple of years, but they were awful for the longest time. They went to Colorado. They immediately won a Stanley Cup, and they've won now 3 Stanley Cups since that move from Quebec. So if I have to rate, or if I have to say where that particular franchise is better off at, I got to give it right here. I got to give it to Colorado. I mean, they've been there almost 30 years. Colorado had a team once before, and they weren't sure if they were going to be successful, weren't sure if they were going to be supported. Well, I would say they've done pretty well. They have done pretty well the time they've been in Colorado. So yes, as much as I love the Quebec Nordiques, that franchise definitely been way better in Colorado. The second team here. This one, the second one is really, I mean, is there really any discussion here? Former location, the Winnipeg Jets. They moved to Arizona, became the Phoenix Coyotes, now the Arizona Coyotes. And we go and wonder, you know, gee, you know, where would that franchise have been better suited? Yeah, no-brainer here. Definitely would have been better off staying in Winnipeg. Again, Canadian dollar was bad, and the owners were, you know, they were drowning in debt. It was a bad thing, and you know, a second Canadian team losing a franchise in the 1990s. So, but they moved to a place that has just been a disaster for that franchise. Just a disaster. Where they're right now playing in a 5,000-seat college hockey rink while waiting to see if they get a new building or not. So, yeah. Definitely, with the Winnipeg Jets were definitely better off in Winnipeg than Arizona. And I actually forgot one on here. Hang on. I literally, while talking about the Winnipeg Jets and the Arizona Coyotes, it literally just all of a sudden I'm like, I forgot one team that I had to add down here. But yeah, where between the Jets and the Coyotes, where were they better off at? Definitely Winnipeg. Now this is another one, as I'm wearing this matchup here. Their former location, Hartford, the Hartford Whalers. Current location, Raleigh, North Carolina. They're the Carolina Hurricanes. Carolina Hurricanes celebrating their 25th anniversary this year. And, you know, So where were they better off at? Hartford, what their problem was they had an owner who just, for lack of a better term, they had an owner who was a prick. He really was. He was not real cool to deal with. And he just, they had an arena deal done. It would have taken 2 years, I think 2 years to build the new arena that they were going to move into. They had it done. I mean, they literally, all they had to do was sign the papers, basically. And then the owner of the Whalers, Peter Karmanos, goes and says, oh yeah, well, while the arena's being built, I want you to pay me for the money that I'm going to lose while that arena is being built. Talk about an owner not wanting to work with a city. And basically, you know, after that, the city's like, screw it. We're not doing this. And so, you know, he went, moved the team to North Carolina, where people weren't sure what the heck this was the first couple of years. People were like, wait, we have a hockey team? Yeah, it was kind of odd. It was really odd when the Carolina Hurricanes became a team, because people were like, wow, why did he move there? He decided to, though. But the Carolina Hurricanes, since then, you know, they've done pretty well. They've won a Stanley Cup. They've, you know, they now have an owner who actually seems like he gives a damn. And, you know, he wants to turn that franchise into a winner. He wants to bring another Stanley Cup back down there. And they love to pay homage to the Hartford Whalers, because there's like 3 or 4 times during a year they wear that green Whalers jersey. Love that one. I wish, though, if they're going to wear Whalers, I want them for at least a couple times, bust out the blue ones. Make Adidas versions of that blue one with the gray in the background. That would be fabulous. So where were they better off at? Obviously, they should not have lost their team in Hartford. They should not have. The fans got royally screwed out of their team because of ownership just not really wanting to work with the city. So he moves them to Carolina. They had a very rough go of it at first. They had one really good year. Well, they had a couple really good years. They went to the finals in 2002, and they came up short. But then 4 years after that, they won the Stanley Cup. And they're a pretty stable franchise right now. So where have they been better off at? Again, I love the Hartford Whalers, but they definitely have been better off in Carolina. Now, this one, Flames. Some people may be like, why? What are you talking, like, Flames? What are you, old and new location? What do you mean by that? The Atlanta Flames moving to Calgary to become the Calgary Flames. Where have they been better off at? I mean, Atlanta's a big market. Atlanta is a big market. It was a big market even back then in the 70s and getting into the early 80s. They were a big market. But nobody really went and wanted to see the Atlanta Flames. You know, I mean, you know, sad to have that be a thing, but they didn't want to see the Flames in Atlanta. So they were sold, and they were moved to Calgary, where they've been since 1980. They've won a Stanley Cup. They're very successful. So what place are they better off in? Obviously, the Flames are better off in Calgary. Now, this one here, this one hits home. This one hits home. The Minnesota North Stars moving in 1993 to become the Dallas Stars. Now, again, we had an owner. The last couple of years here, we had an owner that he was a prick. And he couldn't keep his hands to himself. He was the epitome of the old dirty old man kind of thing. He loved being very handsy with the females in his employ. So with that going on, now this was just before Gary Bettman became commissioner. Gary Bettman became commissioner the year they moved in 1993. So if Gary Bettman, to me, I think if Gary Bettman is commissioner 1 to 2 years prior to that, the North Stars never leave. That's what I think. I don't think the North Stars ever would have left. But Norm Green at the time, he found a loophole in the lease that allowed him to get out of it, and he got out. He was able to get out of it, and whee, off he brings it. He takes him down to Dallas, which definitely ticked off a lot of fans here. Still to this day, you just bring up Norm Green and the visceral, the visceral just venom coming out of people's mouths talking about Norm Green. Yeah, the phrase Norm Green still sucks, honestly, should probably be trademarked, because that is literally a motto here in Minnesota when it comes to that. Now, where to me, where have they been better off? As good as they've been in Dallas, and yes, they've won a Stanley Cup in Dallas, but it's the state of hockey. We never should have lost the team in the first place. So, to me, the Dallas Stars should have stayed in Minnesota. They never should have left Dallas. Or they never should have left Minnesota to go to Dallas. So I gotta say that one goes to the North Stars. That I think they were better off there than in Dallas. Now, this one's kind of a three for one here. Because I'm talking about where were they better at? First, they started out in Kansas City as the Kansas City Scouts. Then after 2 years, they moved to Denver, Colorado, became the Colorado Rockies. Were not real good. And then in 1983, they moved to East Rutherford, New Jersey, become the New Jersey Devils, and they've been there ever since. And the Scouts and the Rockies were not real good franchises. Run very poorly. And the minute the Devils got there, you know, they weren't the greatest, but they built up. They built up into a team. They tried to, the 1 year they tried to tank for Mario Lemieux. Didn't quite work. But you know what? It still worked out pretty well for them. They've won 3 Stanley Cups. So what location are they better off in? Obviously better off in New Jersey. And the one that I forgot, down here. We were talking about the Jets and the Coyotes up there, and it hit me. Oh, yeah. I didn't put down the Atlanta Thrashers moving to Winnipeg and becoming the Winnipeg Jets. Now, Atlanta, you know, a very similar situation happened with them that is going on with the Coyotes right now, but the NHL, for whatever reason, they're hell-bent on keeping the Coyotes afloat, even having them play in a 5,000-seat building. Atlanta, they lost the lease on their building. I believe it was the Atlanta Hawks played out of there, and the owner of the Hawks basically was the guy in charge of the building, and he said, I don't want them here. I do not want them playing in this arena. So what do you do when you get the arena, basically taken right off from under you? Literally like 6 weeks before a season starts. Well, you gotta make a move real quick, and they're like, well, Atlanta, we gotta move them, and of course, True North Sports in Winnipeg stepped up immediately and said, "Bring them here, we'll take them." They went there. They definitely have been better off in Winnipeg. They are better off in Winnipeg. And the thought, honestly, of Atlanta potentially getting another crack at a hockey team. They've had 2 chances. They've had 2 opportunities to have hockey in Atlanta, because everybody, the reason why Atlanta looks so tempting is the fact that they are one of the top 5 biggest markets in the country. So yeah, I mean, why wouldn't you want to put a pro team in Winnipeg? Or not Winnipeg, but Atlanta. Why wouldn't you want to? It's a huge market, and you'd think, that's a good area to have a team in. Not for hockey. Hockey has proved, unfortunately, they cannot work there. They've gone through 2 teams there, and it hasn't worked either time. And some people, again, have gone and said, well, Atlanta should get a team, because Atlanta should get another crack at a team because they're a much bigger market than Quebec. Again, Atlanta has had 2 cracks at this. The fans in Atlanta, they're not that crazy about hockey. There's not an owner there that is going to be able to get a building for them, for another Atlanta team. Quebec, yeah, their market's nowhere near the size of Atlanta, Georgia. But they've got a built-in arena. Their fan base is nuts. And, to me, Atlanta should definitely not get another crack at a hockey team. At least not before Quebec does. Hell, even Hartford, even Hartford deserves a team more than Atlanta does, because again, they've tried it twice in Atlanta, and I can't see them going back. I think they'd be nuts to go back there again, because what, you're gonna have it fail for a 3rd time? Yeah, no. So definitely better off in Winnipeg. It's interesting. Got the Jets up here twice. First in a former location, and now in a current location. Kind of a cool thing there. So let me know what you guys think. Which one of the former locations or current locations? What ones do you guys think? What teams are doing better? In what location? Where on this board? Is what? Are they better? Would they have been better off in their former location, or are they better off in the current location? I'd love to know what you guys think about that. And again, I'll put the link in the description to the Discord, and we can keep the conversation going there. And yeah, so again, let me know what you guys think. And if you haven't done so already, it would be greatly appreciated if you were to hit like and subscribe. Helps the algorithm, the interaction, whatever. Helps the channel get out there to more people. And so, yeah, it'd be greatly appreciated if you were to hit like and subscribe to, help me get a little closer to that 1,000 sub mark. I would love to have you on the ride with me. And yeah, let me know what you guys think. I'll talk to you later.